Well, hello there and thanks for joining me. This week's co-op championship brings us a lot more variety. The downside is that it is with cross-country races, with muscle cars, modern muscle cars in A-class. And since I did want to have a decent tune, I did not have a lot of choice. I went with the Vauxhall Monero VXR from 2005, as it had the lowest standard PI for my available cars. I used the tune from number 3 in-game, and if you happen to enjoy this video, as always, press all the right buttons, leave a comment, you know the drill. First race in this week's championship is the Whitewater Falls Cross Country, and the human team drive 2 Vauxhalls, 2 Cadillacs, a Ford Mustang and a Dodge Charger. Team Drivatar, however, seems to favor the Ford Mustang from 2018, with half of their team driving one of those. It seems I have a decent starting position, but will I be able to make the most of this race? We'll just have to wait and see. We start near the pit, the mine pit. And on pole position it's HTL88 with the same car as me. Yet I still have a better run. And I shoot past most everybody. And then I can start chasing the leader already. But in these corners I do drive cautiously, as this is a car I've never driven before. And now we have a huge jump coming up. But my car seems to not be too bothered with it. First place is running away, and then I have a little bump, and that, well, unsettles my car a lot more than the jump did, causing me to lose a couple of places. Another jump, and this time, well, my car is causing problems all of its own. Sixth position, now going to 5, another couple of jumps. This went fine. Let's see how the other one goes. I seem to have more problem with the water this time around than with the jumps. And now comes the corner in the water and a couple of humps. But nothing too bad as I go past another Drivatar, which gives me the spotless achievement. Hooray for me. But it seems that the first 2 positions are way ahead. And we go through the water for the final jump, and I will be taking a 3rd place, which all in all things considered, is not a bad place. I had some unfortunate events going on with the jump, but we have an overwhelming lead in points. There's absolutely no way Team Drivatar can win. Blue team gets to take a point home. 1 race done and 1 race won. The next race, however, is something different entirely. For the next race is the Ridge Cross Country Circuit. It's a very fun little track with some nice flowing corners, a real treat. A treat with a threat called the Ridge. The big jump that can go wrong in so many ways. And I have had so many crashes here in the past. I would find this race so much more fun if I did not have to worry about this big jump, or more specifically the landing of that jump. So let's see how it goes as I start near the end in one but the last position. Keep your fingers crossed and it will go fine, of course. As usual, I go pretty good off the line. But the grass is very slippery and Drivatar is doing some funky stuff over there. And we go for a small jump. We go a little bit funky, but nothing that causes too much trouble. I try not to go too fast for this section. I want to keep my car in check. Whilst this Drivatar, we have a solid lead for the blue team. First 3 positions are for us. Let's hope we can keep it like this. As we are now heading for the big jump as the mountain dooms up in the early morning fog. We go up the mountain and I have a very clean run up and then a very nice floating jump and a very horrific landing where I go tumbling more than your average lotto ball, and then I slide like 10 million pounds of sludge from New York and New Jersey. I get reset while everybody passes me, but the everlasting slide at least made sure I get respawned at the bottom and not on top of the mountain. I went down to 8th place, but I can quickly regain a couple of positions, and well, I do get to keep that position for now, and I cross the finish line in 6th place. Hopefully the next round goes a lot better. Well, the previous one went just fine except that tiny little mishap. Let's see if we can avoid it this time around. And now also this small jump gives me grievance. I have to do my best to keep my car in check and to keep it in between the checkpoints as I slide all over the place. The people from this little camping site are not going to be happy with me passing through there. Not like that. As I spotted somebody on the right side who is trying to have intercourse with a tree. I gain a position, but overall this means we lose a lot of points as we are closing in on the ridge again. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for this one, which is never a good idea when racing, of course. My run-up, well, is a lot worse than the previous lap. The floating already indicates mayhem. And the landing kind of confirms it. Not as bad as the previous landing, but far from ideal either. Only lost 1 position, putting me back in the Super GT spot. And as I'm too eager to catch up, I go a bit wide. And with a bit, I mean a light year or 2. But that did not teach me anything, as I'm still too eager, causing me to slide all over the place once again. I have to slow down quite a bit, but manage to keep my position to cross the finish line in 6th place once more. How will the last lap fare? How will the jumps go? Will I be able to catch up? Let's see how this first jump goes. And this one, well, this one goes fine. Somebody goes flying by, and the second is a little bit worse, but nothing that causes problems. And I want to catch him again, but I do not want to start sliding again, so I try to keep it cool as we head towards the big jump for a final test. Will I be able to take the jump without flipping or sliding or other such general things a car can do when it wants to completely destroy the person inside? Take a look at my windshield. The run-up is fine. I stick to the right side this time. The floaty jump seems fine, albeit a bit sideways. And the flip is also a perfect rendition of a murderous car seizing its opportunity. I'm ghosted out. It's the game telling me I have completely died. No chance of resuscitation. I did not lose any places at first, but of course with these two I did. The Drivatar is not too difficult to catch, and we're both heading for the left side of the checkpoint, and I decide to back out of it. No point in battling it out, but I do have the faster run, and I keep it to the left, he keeps it to the right, so nice driving, and I finish in 7th position. This could have been a completely different result if my car would not have bailed out on me every time I took the jump on the ridge. Taking that into account, I think I did not do a bad job, and point-wise we just have the lead. Thanks to my teammate in his Vauxhall, I suppose he knows how to take that jump. I sure don't. And I said it, this was something completely different. And up until now, we're a very different championship than the one from last week, where I ended up racing all alone. I did manage to win that one though, so check it out on my channel. It was the Midsummer Mazdanes Championship. And the next race, well, we take it to the streets of Edinburgh. Not too many jumps in this one. Well, not big ones anyway, so little can go wrong here, right? The North City Cross Country Circuit. And I start in 2nd position. Well, 2nd position for the humans, of course. I do have some fear for the start, as the start has this little chicane that can go wrong if Drivatars start pulling their magic cards. And I also want to avoid any team members in there, so I try to solve it by keeping to the left as much as possible, which, well, also gives me the better run. Fastest way around here is to take the left side and not the right, and indeed it puts me right behind the Drivatar that used the same line. And my car seems to be well suited for this road section, so let's hope that helps me in this race. The leader tries to pin me against the wall of that mansion, but I just avoid it and I take the lead. I think he did hit something as a result of our little encounter as he dropped down the list. But all of this gives me quite a lead. Some jumps over here, but they go fine, and I'll take a look at the racing line that I take. Right side of the obelisk. I use a lot of road to take the corner as fast as possible and then stay on the main road and watch what happens. Watch what happens here. The tiniest little curb I have ever seen, but it stops my car dead in its track. Way to go, Forza. Way to go, Vauxhall. I get to keep my lead, but of course I lose a lot of time and a lot of momentum, and I go in way too hot in this last corner, which is quite sharp, especially because of the grass. My car seems to have a lot of grip on the road, but not as much on the grass. And we go for our 2nd lap and we follow the same route. Stay on the left for the first section, as it can be way faster. Depending on the car and class you're driving, of course, the aiming between the two buildings might be a bit tricky, but if you get it right, it is a lot faster. Of course, if you hit the wall every time, you might want to decide to take the right section. And then slow down for this corner, as it can be quite tricky, and I see a lot of people hitting the wall over here. And then we have the grass section, which is a straight line, so just try to avoid street furniture and trees and pray to be lucky with the jumps, as jumps you have seen in the last video can go either way. Right side of the obelisk, wide turn to keep the speed up as much as possible. Keep on the road, which helps with traction and avoids hitting a lot of debris. I go in again a bit slower and a bit more to the right, but to no avail. The curb has a Gandalf complex, I think. You shall not pass! My lead is barely sufficient to keep me in first position, but it does. And looking at the minimap, I don't think the others have the same issue as I do. This time in this corner I go in a lot slower to have a better run through the turn, but it does bring my teammate right on my tail. However, we now have the road section, so I am able to run away slightly again. As I shoot through these buildings, have a little moment in this corner, and judging on the minimap, I guess 2nd place seems to use the wall to take that corner, and he is rather close when we take this turn. He's closing in on me. Brake over here. And then we start the uphill grass section where I suspect him to have a better run, as mine turns out to be, with the help of a couple of jumps, a very slippery slope. Stay on the right, and then I go in too wide, but not as wide as second place would want me to have. He follows the normal road while I stick to the road. He does pass the curb without any problems, but well, we know what was going to happen, right? And take a look at HTL88 and his position. He drops right down on the leaderboard. Also see the minimap as I try to slide my way across these train tracks, but I do have my best corner yet, which will grant me second place in this race. And HTL, who dropped down the leaderboard, is also driving the Vauxhall, just like me. So anybody who is using this car, be warned, it will most likely also mess up your run in this particular race. Well, for results, we have another solid victory with first 3 places for our Human Blue team. And that is the end of a much more interesting championship this week, as we get our 3 points and our nice victory dance, and we get to take home the prize for winning this week's Power on the Prairie trial, and that is a Ken Block race suit. I am so happy with this. And please join us again next week for what will surely be another interesting co-op championship video, and also make sure to check out the ones from the previous weeks, and let's not forget to press all the right buttons.